firm remembers it. And we're gonna hold you to it. But this is the time to embrace it, and we need you to support it, and you need to make sure your voice is loud and clear, that the people need to understand. If they vote this down, they need to understand the cost of what it's gonna cost this town if they don't do it. Rather than continue to keep on saying it, we can't do it now, let's tell the people what will happen if we don't do it. I think that's the most important thing. Because to me, when I think about revenue, you can't go anywhere until this is done. We can't attract the next hotel. We can't attract the next Walmart. We can't attract the next chain restaurants. That's where the revenue is going to come into this town, and it's going to make your lives easier. And then we won't be in the gym till midnight arguing over, you know, 500,000. And no, but you know what? You got to give it a chance. And these guys, I got a group of parents, or excuse me, residents together about a week ago. I got them together and I met with the wastewater commission. Parents that had no clue that this thing even existed. Residents in this town for many years. And we sat down, and when we left that room, the energy in that room was amazing. Everybody wanted to put their wallets on the table right then and there and invest in this project. Because this is truly a business case to this town. If I could invest in it myself personally, I would, because the future is so grand. You know, it's not the next coming of Jesus here, but it's close enough to me for this town. I don't think you could put your finger on another thing that's going to give us the opportunity to take a shot to help out our schools, to help out this town, to keep on, you know, if we keep on cutting the town, the people that work in this building right here, we're going in the wrong direction. And think about them when you think about considering now putting this on the ballot. Because it's those people that give their heart and soul every day to this town. We keep on taking from them. It's the 20% of this town we continue to keep hurting. So I'm going to ask one more time, do you really seriously think about embracing it now? Because to me, it's as clear as ever. This is the time. You've got a lot of energy in this town. You've got a lot of interest. And these guys have done an unbelievable job. I asked a lot of questions. There wasn't one question they could not answer. And a good answer. It wasn't fluff. It wasn't debatable. They used facts. There's no fiction in this. And I know, Mr. Messeri, you've been involved in this as well. You've invested a lot of time in this. So I know there is a lot of good things that have been done. Let's let the town people hear about it, because if you don't map it to the problems we're having right now, then it's not fair to us. It's not fair to the residents. Let them know. It's not fair to the seniors in this town. They are consistently put off into the back burner. We got to find a way to help them. Let me tell you, there's no way to help them without doing this. I really, truly, sincerely mean that. So that's all I'll say.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for the time.
Warren, you had your hand up.
Just a couple of quick comments. Having sat through that meeting the other night, it occurred to me that next year will be worse. And you can't continue to fund a 6 or 7% budget or a 5% budget with 2.5% override. I mean, with a 2.5% budget increase, and you're not going to get much in the way of new construction. So it's just going to get worse and worse. And there has to be a plan of some kind. There has to be some kind of a light at the end of the tunnel to get us to a place where we don't have to do that. You got to start somewhere, and I agree that this is the time. This is really the time. We have done the job. We have everything ready, and I would very much sincerely request that the selectmen embrace this and take this, help us get it through, because it may not. It's not going to be next year or the year after maybe the year after that. Suddenly we got water in the pipes. Things are starting to happen, and then a few years later you look back. Should have done 10 years earlier. That'll be the comment, and we just know it. Look around us. Look over at Walker's Brook Drive in Reading. You remember that road? It was a road to nowhere. You go down that road, you run into a few little finger roads, you couldn't even find your way out. And yet, look what's over there now. They put sewer down there. Look at Lawrence, where 114 goes down the hill, they put sewer in there. Look to the left. There's got to be $1 billion worth of buildings there. Right down Route 38 over in Wilmington, and look what they did with the old car dealer was once they put all the sewer down that street. Holy mackerel, the number of dollars is just beyond belief. And here we sit, a little desert island in the middle with nothing, because we can't provide that one basic service that will encourage them to come. And yet, of all these towns, we are the only one with a flat tax rate. So don't you think we'd be the first one in line to be asked if we don't provide that basic capability for them, for these properties to grow? Not going to grow.
know, I'm not speaking for everybody else, but I don't think you have to, I don't think you have to do anything to sell us, I mean, on the project. I think we're all sold on the project. Believe me, it's the future. I mean, I absolutely think it's the future of North Reading, there's no question about it. If we have any chance of raising revenue, significant revenue, it's from doing this. The question is whether the time is right. I see your argument that says the time is right because you've got opportunity coming up that you'll miss if we postpone. But I think that, you know, putting it out now really causes that kind of confusion because you've got two different issues. I don't know, I mean, if you feel so strongly about it that you think time is right and you want to go for the thing, I wouldn't stand in the way. I would agree to put it on the ballot. Certainly let you go to town meeting and put it on the ballot.
Joe?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I guess just to clear up a few small things, Warren, Reading has an equal tax rate, it's not split down there. So, one thing I heard earlier is you're gonna get a bigger turnout in November than you are in May. I don't think so. You're gonna have a big turnout in May with an override question on this ballot. So I'm just trying to clear up some things that I heard earlier. I have never stood in the way of putting an override question on the ballot. I've always said, let the voters decide. I do want to say, though, that the Department of Public Works supervisor is not in favor of doing it at this time. I'm not saying that's going to change my mind. I'll be honest with you, and that's my feeling. I might be wrong. You put another override on there, they're all going down the tubes. For this chance to have town have any chance of getting that override that we're going to need for schools and town, another question is going to definitely send it down the tubes. I agree with you. There was a lot of energy in that room, but that energy was for the school, and rightfully so. That's what they were there for. I don't think you're ever going to convert that amount of energy out of that meeting into this project. I agree with this project, by the way, also. I did say sewage is the best thing for the town. I agree it is. But how do we get there is the problem. I've always said it. I won't block it, so I will not block it, but you're going to sink everything if you do it. And I said this to a certain group 2 years ago when they wanted 2 questions. I was the swing vote. I said, it's going to bury you. And they said, we want to take the chance. I said, go ahead, and it buried them. So if you want to put it on, I will, but it's going to kill everything. That's my opinion.
I don't, Mike, you're right. When I ran for office, I talked about this, and that was 1988, 20 years ago. So, not a new issue, not a new idea, and we're as close as we've ever been with a comprehensive plan to get something done and move forward. That's a good thing. With 3 weeks to town meeting, and we're talking about you're starting some outreach and you're starting to talk to groups, and the magnitude of this project is huge. The cost of it is huge. How we're going to finance it and what approach we're going to take hasn't even been determined yet and decided. I mean, what is it we're going to be asking for in the form of an override? A bond issue for what dollar amount? I'm sitting here, I have no idea. You know, I don't know, because we haven't talked about it at length enough to determine that. What I anticipated after our meeting this December was that you were going to give a comprehensive report under the article for committees and boards to give a report to town meeting to lay the groundwork for the education of the general populace in relation to what we're looking to do here. I mean, I don't think it's not going to take. It is going to take. It's going to take a lot of effort, but it's not going to take an awful lot if you get interested people to sit down and listen to convince them that it's the right investment to make. When we talk about investments, we're talking about money. So this community is going to have to spend a considerable amount of money, upfront money, in order to make this investment, in order to make it work. And it's the right investment to make. It is the future of North Reading. It's the future of some sort of property tax relief for the residential homeowner. And without it, we're just going to be sitting here spinning our wheels as we are right now. Personally, I don't think there's enough time. And I think it would be an injustice to move forward this quickly. I mean, back in December when we had this discussion, there was a little bit of pushback, from the group. but not an awful lot. I think there was a sense of understanding that it was going to take a considerable amount of effort to educate the public on the matter. I mean, I, for one, sitting on the board, want to be a major participant in that. Because this time of year, we're all consumed with the budgetary aspects of things. And I think moving forward from April on forward, if we use that as the grounds, you know, the groundswell support to start then, move forward, you know, I think the timing is better. I think the opportunity to convince more of the public that it's the right thing to do and the investment needs to be made will give us the time to do it. The board will have more time to devote to it because the budget will have been settled, determined, we know we're moving forward, what's going on. So, I think you're coming to us a little bit later, too late now, to ask us to put a ballot question on. I don't think we have, not that we haven't got our homework done, I don't think we have enough time between now and town meeting and then town meeting and the election. You're talking 3 weeks of town meeting and about 6 or 7 weeks to the election. To inform the public enough where they're going to embrace the whole idea and move forward and be willing to spend the money. And I don't want to risk that. I don't want to see a false answer. I don't want people not to feel comfortable that they're not well informed enough to vote intelligently on the matter. Because I think if they really look at it, it's the right thing to do, it's the smart thing to do. And as far as participation, the greatest participation level is going to be the November election. And I'm not afraid of that. I'd rather have the more people that we can have participate and let them be heard. And let them get engaged a little bit more. And it's a big issue locally, and I think it would be best served from a timing standpoint to lay the groundwork, start April town meeting, give you a report, and then start the educational process then. Move forward for the November election. So I hope I'm not going to be perceived as standing in the way. Because again, I first talked about this in 1988. I'm not standing in the way of anything. I just think it's, from a timing standpoint, an educational standpoint, educating the public, I don't think any of us are capable of getting enough information out there so that people make an informed decision. We get enough people informed to the level that the number of people that are going to participate are going to take the time to understand the issue completely. So I'm not in favor of putting an article on, and I'm not in favor of putting a ballot question on at this point.
Michael?
A little bit torn on this one myself. I think this is, I'm going to say quite possibly, I think this is the most important thing that's come in front of me in my tenure here. This is, like everyone said, it's the future of the town. It's going to save us, I think, to a degree. But I just don't want to see it get killed, like at this town meeting, because this town does not have a very favorable history with overrides passing, and I think if we put too much money up front, they're both going to fail, and there will be a huge blow to the town. But I would not be opposed to putting something in the town meeting warrant to get people to know that this is going on, because I too don't think there's been enough outreach to the community to tell them what's been going on. And I don't know if this is possible, but I would be opposed to setting a special town meeting after, well, pending the results of the May election, to get this onto another ballot in between the two elections. If that's possible, I wouldn't be opposed to doing that. I just think with the huge cost and the time it's going to take to get everybody in the town to know what this project is going to entail, and as you said, Mr. Prisco, to connect the dots between what this money is actually going to get for us, I don't think the time has been spent trying to get everybody in the town on board with it. But if you feel that it is definitely the time and we're never going to have another opportunity like this, and you guys are the experts, so.
Warren?
Yep. And I appreciate what you're saying, Mike, and there's a certain amount of truth to that. However, one of the things one of the ways you might want to look at it is that every time we do an override, the money is taken, the money's gone, and it's put into a project, and the money just gone, disappeared. This project will give back. And that's a whole different thing